This episode of Southeast Iowa Today is brought to you by Greiner Auto Body of Washington, Iowa, using state-of-the-art techniques and decades of experience to get your car back on the road after an accident. Car Doctor of Washington, Iowa. No matter who Frankensteined it, they can fix it, clean it, and customize it. McDonald Boatyard of Keota, Iowa, for all your farm equipment and auto recycling needs. For great food, it's your choice family restaurant of Wayland, Iowa. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Try the John Bain sandwich on your next visit. Girling Repair of Winfield, Iowa. If your mower is dead, call Fred, your Husqvarna, Aaron's, and Gravely dealer. Fred also fixes and sells snowblowers. B&B Propane and the family of jet stops. CW Tree Trimming, LLC. We're into your trees, not your wallet. Serving all of Henry County and the surrounding area, and we offer a senior citizen and veteran discount.
Iowa Technology Systems delivers professional IT services. From company networks to home computers, we keep you connected with reliable service you can trust. Enterprise IT services, quality computers, and local IT support. All designed to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit www.iowatechsys.com to see how our services can help you.
They all present the award-winning Southeast Iowa Today. Here's the author of Christie's Journey, The Beat Goes On, and your host, John Bain.
Thank you, announcer Cody Roy of NewEnglandDukes.com for your golden pipes and wonderful introduction. It's Tuesday, January 27th, 2026, and I'm back at the Henry County Courthouse in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. The reason the board is meeting today is that board members will be at an ISAC conference this coming Thursday. Lots on the agenda today. Here are some of the highlights. A discussion concerning hub insurance deductibles on policy with Adam Kearns. Department budget reviews received from county departments. County Compensation Board recommendation report received and future need of utilizing Compensation Board. Discussion concerning county departmental needs of county-owned cellular phones. Preserve Oakland Mills group question, if authorized, if to proceed with self-funded engineering study of historic bridge. Committee updates. Safety Committee, Walt Jackson and or Jake Hotchkiss with update of needs on that, and Jake handled that. Board members updates, SEIRPC update, Gunnar Sloan IT updates, Paul Groof HR updates, Joe Buffington PZ update, new business, engineer Jake Hotchkiss secondary roads updates, resolution 03-2026-20, set speed limit on South Walnut Street, Alicia Yoakum, Henry County Fair request for funding, Rachel Lindeen, Area Economic Development Update, Tim Myers, All-American Sanitation Update, other business, no Board of Supervisors meeting on this coming Thursday, January 29th, 2026. As I mentioned, the members will be at the ISAC conference. Farm Bureau request for annual Board of Supervisors visit to their meeting for Q&A, Weed Commissioner, secondary roads, noxious weed duties, a reminder to remove personal cell phone numbers from listings, and of course, public comments.
All rise and say pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. I'd like to convene the meeting January 27th. 2026 of the Henry County Board of Supervisors. First item of business be roll call of members.
Alrighty, Dietrich?
Here.
Lindeen? And White?
Here. And would you include your name with the minute taking?
And Schilling.
Okay, thank you. Third item of business, consent agenda for the approval of board minutes of January 21, January 22, and 23. One's a meeting and then a couple work sessions in there. I did note that there would be a correction. It was mine, I can't blame it on anybody else. I used the word friends versus preserve of Oakland Mills. I misused the word, so I want to correct that. And then that was the extent of that. Did you guys see any other? Okay. Entertain a motion then to approve the consent agenda with the corrections noted.
Make a motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion passed. So, first item of business, unfinished business would be discussion concerning Hub insurance deductibles on policy with Adam Kearns with Hub International.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I had sent over the adjustments that were made. Did everyone receive those? Okay, so just a quick summary of what took place. As you remember, ICAP came through and went through all the buildings. This building in particular, we had questioned, and they came back and reduced the premiums for this building by $9,000, which is a wonderful thing. And then, which then took place is the savings for the different deductibles, those adjusted just a little bit, okay? So currently we have a $2,500 deductible. That's minus a law enforcement building that has a separate $10,000 deductible, okay? On the property, if we were to move to that $10,000 deductible for all buildings, it would save roughly $4,500, $4,531, okay? If we go to a $25,000 deductible, that would save $10,531, okay? If you do the math on that one, you know, in about 2.5 years, if we don't have any property claims, that would have our you know, monies basically made whole again, okay? So we bank on not having any claims for 2.5 years, we've made money by making that transition, okay? Couple other thoughts that I have. $2,500 deductible for the amount of property that we have is relatively low, okay? Most homeowners now at least have 1,000, if not a $2,500 deductible, okay? Now, again, we would want to make sure that we budget accordingly to offset if we were to have a property claim, because there's a big difference between $2,500 and $25,000, okay? I'll pause there for property. Questions, thoughts, concerns?
Is this per claim?
This is per claim.
Okay.
Okay, so let me use an example to help maybe make sure everyone's on the same page. We have a tornado come through, okay? And that storm blows off 4 buildings, okay? That's one occurrence, okay? Meaning we're gonna have a $25,000 deductible for all those buildings. Not each individual, but for all of them, okay? Now, let's say we have a fire in this building, the same day we have a fire in the law enforcement building, 2 separate claims, unless we can prove that the fire from here blew over and started the fire on the other one, highly unlikely. However, that would be 2 separate claims. So it would be 2 separate $25,000 deductible. Okay. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other thoughts or questions on property?
You guys here?
Understood.
Pretty clear, yeah.
Okay, I'll keep moving forward, and then if you guys wanted to discuss or have, you know, thoughts or ideas on how to move forward, we certainly can. The other options to consider were the auto deductibles. Doing the math, it just didn't make sense. You know, we would move from a $500 deductible to a $2,500 deductible, it would save $1,300. We unfortunately have more than one auto accident on average each single year, okay? So we would lose money in that, okay? I wouldn't recommend it for that. The other thing is the general liability deductible. We have $0 deductible currently. If we go to a $5,000 deductible, it would save us $2,500. I actually think we should move forward with that. Okay. And then they did give us options for the auto liability deductible. We go from 0 to 5,000, $2,700. However, if we do have an accident where we hit someone else and they have medical claims, things of that nature, you know, the chances of that, unfortunately, are, you know, with the amount of vehicles we have, it comes up, okay? I wouldn't recommend that. The other two were the public officials, employment practice liability, going from 3,000 to 5,000. That's $1,000 savings. I'm comfortable staying where we're at there. And then law enforcement liability, currently 3,000, going to 5,000, that would only save $585. I'm comfortable keeping it where it's at right now. Obviously, we can make any of these changes, but that's just my thoughts, putting data to what we already know to try to get the most savings there.
And if we go with all your recommendations, what's the total savings? Do you have that?
Nope, but I can get it pretty quickly. So,
That's what I'm figuring out.
yeah, so right now, if we keep everything the same, the new premium is $474,002. If we reduce the, or increase the deductible on the property, and we actually go to 10,000, plus we go with the general liability deductible of 5,000, it would save an additional $13,083, which then would bring our total to $460 and $919. So $13,000 savings.
And that's all encompassing of everything that you recommended to us for all of the.
Yep, that's,
increase.
if we were to go to the $25,000 property deductible, and then
Two changes.
the two changes,
Just
yep,
the two, yeah.
and then the general liability.
I'm comfortable with that.
I would agree, I'm very comfortable with that, I think that we should move forward with that. You have to have that by the 31st, is that correct?
So I would make a recommendation that you guys would make a motion to approve the changes at the $13,083 savings, total premium being $460,919.
Any questions, Chad?
No. Any questions, Steve?
No, I'm good.
Mark,
Pardon?
any questions,
Nope.
concerns,
Not at all.
further discussion?
You wanna call for a
Entertain a motion?
I'll make that motion that we make these changes in our ICAP policy.
So the motion would be for a total premium of $460,919. That would encompass a $13,083 reduction in premiums with a raise of property deductible to $10,000 or to $25,000. And move to $5,000 for general liability. Is that correct?
Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded.
Seconded, yes.
Further discussion on it?
No, I think those are good numbers, I appreciate Adam's time to help put that together and save us the money and get realistic on those deductibles.
Hearing no further discussion on it, there's a question, all in favor of making that amendment?
Do a roll.
Do a roll call vote.
Alrighty. Dietrich,
Yes.
Lindeen,
Yes.
and White.
Yes.
Do you want me to do myself on these two?
What you want,
And
Simon?
then-
I'm sorry.
Do you want me to say
I'm
no?
not-
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay.
And, yeah, that's fine, I think.
Yep, yeah, so I'll update the form, so that way it outlines the details of like, hey, we moved to $25,000 deductible,
Yeah.
we moved to the $5,000 deductible, what those premiums reflect, and then I'll send it over to Robin, and then have you sign.
Because the premium has already been submitted, but it can be adjusted out and
Yes.
retrofitted back to.
Yeah,
the-
yeah, so anything that's above and beyond what you guys have already paid, that difference will be credited back, so they'll send you a check back.
Perfect.
The payment was already made, just to alleviate any hiccups that we would slide past a renewal period on it and everything, so.
Yep. So everything's good?
Anything else on that?
I think we're good, Adam. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you, everyone.
Thanks. You gotta run, don't you?
I do.
Pfeiffer Sawmill, your local home for kiln-dried lumber and affordable trailer decking to your specifications, all in Rome, Iowa, serving Mount Pleasant and all surrounding areas. Do you like to throw a hatchet? They've got your board. Call Ben today at 319-931-4544. Did you know that I'm not only one of your favorite podcasters or even your favorite podcaster, but that I'm an author too? That's right. I'm the author of this book right here, Christy's Journey, The Beat Goes On. This is a true story about my daughter and my family. Back in June of 2019, my daughter Christy, at 29 years old, experienced cardiac arrest while at work at her job in Northeast Texas. The Lord lined up angels to save her, from her fellow employees to first responders to the doctors that figured out what was wrong. It was quite a journey. It turns out that Christy was born with a birth defect in her heart, something her mother and I never knew. Her pulmonary artery was on the wrong side of her heart. Christy was saved, and our entire family is eternally grateful and thankful. I would tell our story to different people, and I would say, the Lord has a plan for us, but I'm not smart enough to know what that is. So many times people would respond to me that I should write a book. Well, I'll tell you, it was the best thing that I could have done, and I hope you are interested in checking it out. If so, it's in lots of libraries in Iowa and in Texas. If you would like to have your own copy of our inspirational experience, you can get it online wherever books are sold, or go to BoBainDesigns.com and get it for $13.57, which is over $3 off the retail price.
Okay, number 4, unfinished business, letter B, department budget review received from county departments. I'll just add that after this business meeting, we will have the sheriff's office and county attorney submit their budgets. Any further concerns, discussion? That's pretty straightforward on that one.
Yeah, just a couple of little things. Kelly and I are continuing to follow up on the library situation, and apparently Hillsborough has some potential for closing, and so we'll follow up on where we're at with the Hillsborough Library, which really impacts the conversation what we're doing with libraries in general. And then I did follow up with the conservation folks. There was some conversation about potentially trading the tractor off, and some folks not offering government discounts, which I have investigated and found that there are several government contracts available from John Deere, Case IH. So we need to get into that further, and we're going to get some more discussion on that item here.
Good. Okay. County Compensation Board recommendation report received. We did receive the report from the Compensation Board. They met November 6th. We received that report from them, I believe, on the 21st of January. Discussion on that?
I have none.
I just reiterate what I had said earlier from last meeting. I think, again, I would recommend us abolishing the compensation board, and again, I think I gave 5 really good reasons. Number 1, consistently come back to us with a 10% raise, which is not realistic in today's economy, or any economy. I don't know anybody that gets a 10% raise in any industry in our community, which again is unrealistic, and it sets an unrealistic expectation. It creates confusion as we look at budgets. We've got folks giving us 10% increases in salaries and 5% and 4%, and part of that's our fault, obviously, but again, the compensation board puts that number out there, and some people see that as a target, and that's what they're going to do. So we've seen some confusion from budget applications that we've seen and reviewed so far. And again, I think the new compensation model that we have coming from HR really fills the need for what we see from the compensation board. And the other part of that is again, we have other counties that have eliminated their compensation boards and do just fine. Folks in Keokuk County, Jefferson County, Lee County's looking at that as well. So we're not the only folks that have done it. And it's fairly consistent. I think it's just one of those things that has worn out its time, and there's probably a better application in the big scheme of things.
Further on that one? Letter D, discussion concerning county departmental needs of county-owned cellular phones. Mr. Sloan, do you have any updates or anything on that?
I met with one vendor, and got a base idea of what some costs would be. We need to have a department head meeting or a larger meeting with the group and just kind of assess who needs cell phones and come up with criteria for justification, so we're not just deciding everyone that works in the county needs a cell phone, but then also have enough that everyone that would do regular business on their phone would get one if they need one. So I guess the short answer is just still out for quotes. I got one. I do the due diligence though and get a couple and make sure we're getting a good deal.
Give a target date.
I'm hoping to have some solid answers from the other vendors by mid-February, just with their scheduling.
So at our next department head meeting,
Yeah,
they
the
can
goal would be,
give
yeah.
us the numbers.
Yeah, the goal would be to meet February 10th, I believe is that date for the department head meeting,
No,
HR,
or
yeah,
HR meeting.
HR meeting.
HR meetings and stuff.
But maybe broach that subject at that time with the department head.
And have anything further?
No, thank you.
Letter number E, this is where my correction was. I had in error put Friends of Oakland Mills. It's Preserve Oakland Mills. Group question, if authorization to proceed with the self-funded engineering study of the historic bridge. That is still being reviewed. There was some further work done on that yesterday, information and whatnot. Mr. Davis, Steve Davis, will not be present, but I've been in communication with him to let him know that as soon as something is known, we will include him in that conversation so he's aware of it and can be part of that, so. Committee updates. Safety meeting, safety committee. Walt Jackson and Jake Hotchkiss were penciled in on this to have an update. Walt unfortunately had to be gone for a funeral service today, so that will, Jake Hotchkiss is here, but really, Jake, unless you have something, there's really no information right now. There's needs to be some clarification on what those job duties will entail, what that safety committee looks like in all the different department heads and kind of formulate where that goal line is.
Yeah, we did dig into some of the budget stuff, so it looks like there's about 3 line items that we could determine that would relate to safety. I think those 3 line items should stay the same at this point as we're trying to figure out what all those dollars were used for, so we don't get ourselves in trouble. Majority of it is getting used throughout the year for different things, so get a little more detail into what all was in place in that. And then I think the one recommendation I would give is that not to do that safety committee meeting right after HR. I think we need to find a time that would work, maybe beforehand, so we actually allocate some time. Those meetings get really drawn out in that period and they overlap, so I think it'd be better just to have a specific safety meeting to talk with the department heads on how you guys want to move forward. So.
Okay, thank you.
Is that something that you've talked about so that you can facilitate pulling everybody together? Or?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just making sure there's direction. If you want, at this point, I think we need to have a meeting together, and if the Walt is the direction to go as far as leading the trainings and different things here at security, but there are some other umbrellas I think need to make sure that there's a clear understanding who's covering this, and if it's Paul with HR, that everybody in the department heads understands the process, and I think that's where we almost have to kind of back up and make sure that it's clear what we're doing.
Kind of go along with that, my idea of a safety committee for the courthouse and things, if Walt wanted to be the facilitator of that, let's say if there was a specific security related training here at the courthouse, I think he would want to work with Sheriff McNamee and his department to be specific in those types of things. If it were medical related, I think he would want to work with public health in public health, CPR, first aid, that type, those types of things. I think kind of use everybody's area of expertise and move forward in that general idea. That's my idea. I mean, not everybody's, I'm sure.
And if you're asking, like, do we need somebody to take the lead to set up a meeting, we could do that, maybe look at some time on that Tuesday morning when Paul would come. We could maybe try to set up a block that says, let's meet on this, anybody that's interested to come at that time from the department head.
I think that's what we need to do.
I can work with Walt on
This might
getting the
just
time and.
stagnate.
Walt and I did have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow to discuss some of those very drills, but we had to postpone it because of conflict, but we had that set.
So I think that's kind of a work underway, and I mean, working towards that goal.
So I will send out, if you guys are okay with it, I can send an email out this week about maybe setting up a time with Paul to come in that morning, anybody else that wants to be there at that time.
I think that'd be
With their
good.
HR.
Just keep it moving forward, otherwise,
Okay.
again, it'll stagnate. We won't get
I'll coordinate
progress.
On the tenth?
Yeah, if that works, or if we have to find a different time, but just see who can all come and who wants to come.
That'd be great, thank you.
Board member updates, Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Commission, that goes to Steve.
Yeah, we had our first meeting of the year this past Thursday. Pretty lengthy meeting because of a lot of appointments to be made. Went through finances as well, and I've got this if anybody wants to review it. The one thing that we did announce too was the Leland McCotch Memorial Award went to Matt Moorfield of Fort Madison for his work within the community for improving the quality of life overall. So that's a nice honorary degree to be able to give to him. Our new executive for that board this year is going to be Dr. Ash from Southeastern Community College. So we'll be working through him to facilitate all of the meetings and work through that. And we did have a new appointment to our TAC team. From our community, it's going to be Ryan Lauer. So Ryan Lauer, Chad Hudson, myself are on that committee. Excuse me. And then we'll meet again next month.
Gunner, I think you kind of already touched on your IT stuff, right? Do you want
Yes.
to have anything more on that?
Not a whole lot. We had one on Thursday, so just really some contacts for vendors for phone stuff, did a couple contract reviews, and then some issues with fiber to the judicial building over here that we're looking at later today.
Okay, thank you.
Steve or Mark, did you have anything from Paul as
No.
far as any type of update or anything like that?
No, he did not share anything today. And I followed up with him yesterday, so I don't know where he's at right now. I'll get in touch with him.
Okay. And Mr. Buffington? Yeah, if you would.
Well, it's Thursday afternoon. I'm off Friday, so this is basically yesterday. No permits, issued. Still working on the same subdivision, no floodplain permits, no addresses. Helped the auditor's office with a difficult deed description. Finalized the addition of precincts, wards, and polling places on Beacon, so that's up and searchable now.
Yeah, look on that, and that's there, so that makes it easier for everybody to see. So I'll forward that
The
on.
polling places are on, you can zoom right to the polling places if you're curious to see where they're at. Approved a no plat of survey, signed parcel designation, now it's just to separate a house from surrounding farm ground. Had a call from the company that's gonna be working on replacing the BNSF bridge, they wanna place some trailers and so on for offices for that construction, so we talked about that and got them.
Where's that at?
That's the bridge west of town, across the Skunk River. That's gonna be a major project.
Okay.
Inspected a junk complaint in Mount Union and a conditional use floodplain violation in Oakland Mills.
Is that the one we talked about?
Yeah, that's what we talked about this morning. Had someone come in, wanted to know, what became of the trail across, KILJ ground. So I did some research on that, I couldn't off the top of my head.
Is that the one that goes like through Green Valley, or on the backside of Green
Yeah,
Valley?
it was rescinded 4 years ago maybe, so it's not a thing anymore. Got the telephone database downloaded for the 911 update, so I can get that finished up. Working on data I need to put into the report to for emergency management and Citizens Convenience Center to FEMA and HHS. I think you're working on insurance later today. I've got to have an insurance letter, so once you guys get that finalized, they can finalize that to me and I can get that in there.
Yeah, we did that just a little bit ago with that.
Oh, okay,
so
good, so
that should be good.
getting that finished up so I can get that sent off. All the commission board members, they've all had information on the public information classes and the P&Z classes from Iowa State, and so anyone who's interested in that can get signed up. And lastly, I fixed the sink in the recorder's bathroom. That was no charge.
Multitasking.
Yeah.
Could you unpack you said there was a floodplain violation at Oakland Mills? Could you just brief that one?
There's a campground, per floodplain rules, campers have to move at least twice a year. There cannot be any permanent residency. There appears to be permanent residency in that campground. There are campers that have not moved for much more than that time frame. At this point, I'm not getting the cooperation I need, so I verified that yesterday that they have not done anything, so moving on to the next step on that.
The reason that's important again is because it ties into our ability to work with FEMA, correct?
Right, we're required to follow FEMA regulations to participate in the flood insurance program. If we don't, we can jeopardize that participation, which would jeopardize people who have floodplain insurance in the county. So
Kind of a big deal.
it is kind of a big deal, so we're gonna keep moving on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving to item number 6 on the agenda, which is new business. Engineer Jay Kotchis, secondary roads update. I believe you got a resolution to bring forward.
Yep, I'll give my update.
Thank you.
The first item here is a resolution. I'll go ahead and read the resolution. It's resolution 3-2026-20. Whereas the county engineer has received a request from the city of Mount Pleasant to adjust speed limits on South Walnut Street and 255th Street west of South Grand Avenue. The following speed limits are recommended per Mount Pleasant speed study. 35 miles per hour commencing 1,440 feet south of the intersection of East Harvest Drive and South Walnut Street. Then south on South Walnut Street to 255th Street to the intersection of South Grand Avenue and 255th Street. Now therefore be it resolved by the Henry County Board of Supervisors in session this 27th day of January 2026 that the above speed limits be installed as recommended and effective immediately.
Jake, are these like 45 now?
They are technically would have been 50 and 55, so it would have been 55 during the day and 50 at night because it was a gravel road in the county system. So this is where we have joint jurisdiction on the Walnut Street. The city comes south to a point and then we continue on. We have a 28-year agreement where we do some joint maintenance. So they take care of winter operations, we take care of routine blading of that gravel road during the spring, summertime.
That's where the old Thresher's Ground ends.
This would actually be next to the DOT's, the backside of the DOT shop, and then there's a church on, I think 255th has access out there, so.
Okay.
There was a need, this was, I would say up front, this was all done by the city of Mount Pleasant that looked at it. Then they kind of came to us and said they were putting signs up, and I said, well, we need to make sure that there's some teeth to it. We need to pass a resolution, so my recommendation to you guys would be is just to conform with what they're looking at there, as that's relatively close to the city limits.
Motion to approve this resolution?
Okay, there's been a motion to approve the resolution as read by Engineer Hotchkiss. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, do a roll call vote on resolution.
Dietrich,
Yes.
Mundy,
Yes.
and White.
Yes.
I'll start that one, and then there's a spot you just have to write deputy, and then you can test it.
Perfect.
And then I'll take that upstairs and get a copy of it when we're done. Okay, well, thank you. Maintenance update, we did send our trucks out Sunday morning. We had enough snow primarily in the southern part of the county. We did have a little bit up north. It was kind of a snow sleet mixture, so it did make some slick conditions. We started around 5 o'clock, and I think we were out of here by 10:30 on Sunday. They checked, Monday, they checked pavements again, just to make sure everything cleaned up well, and then we cleaned the trucks up after that to get them salt and grime off. We did have something happen last week with our excavator. Our tracks finally kind of gave out or wore out. So now we're in the process of replacing those tracks. So they're prepping that this week and working on getting those delivered somewhere else to have them put the new rails that go on the tracks. The pads we're able to reuse and update some of the rollers on there. So that'll be kind of a week to into next week project. We have to do that kind of inside-outside combination. So just kind of dealing with weather, but we want to get that machine back up and running so we get back to our brush cutting again.
So it's back at your shop now?
Yes, it is. We did, when it broke, they were able to get it put back together, and then we're looking at those repairs.
Cause I saw them out there working in there, trying to get that tractor started yesterday, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Everything starts a little harder right now, obviously. And then territory operators, they were doing a little bit of blading. They started to pair up in these cold weather. We'll start putting a pickup truck, and they go out and they start cutting down some smaller trees, some overhanging branches that they can get to, just in their territory, just to kind of spread them out. And again, we're kind of doing that again today, as we're doing some of these temperatures as well. So we do have a brush crew working on 195th there off of Franklin Avenue that they're working on nipping some overhanging brush that we're dealing with. Miscellaneous construction, Fremont Avenue, we closed the road. This would be east of Franklin Avenue. They started bridge removal yesterday, which is essentially trying to break through that frost on top of the rock and salvage what they can. And then they're gonna be working on bridge removal this week as well. So, you know, obviously the temperatures are pretty cold right now, but they're trying to get some removal done, and then the forecast is showing things to start to improve. That'll allow them to get some foundation work or the substructure out there as we need to. So again, we're estimating this will be a 6 to 8 week project. That all depends on the weather, obviously. So if it gets real cold, that's gonna stretch this out. But that's one of the reasons this project was kind of put forward, is it allows them to work in their off season, and we're getting a good price for that work to be done. So it's worked out well so far. 235th Street, the contractor plans to have the beams removed by the end of the week. I have an update to that. They are removed, so they got them off yesterday. The beams are on the ground, they're cutting them up. And then they're gonna start working on demolition of those piers, which is working at the base of those, and then they're planning to tip those over and then break them up into sizes that they can use for some of our other work. So we are actually trying to salvage that and use it as riprap or a part of this stability that we're doing underneath there for the slopes. And then the second crew moved in to help, just because of where they're at with their schedule. So they've got 2 crews out there, so that should help improve some of the stuff. Again, when it's this cold, work is a little bit slower just from the standpoint of the guys out there working. Allows them to keep working, so. That's it, unless you have questions for me.
Good, thank you.
Next item, under new business is, letter B, Alicia Yoakum, the Henry County Fair representative.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you.
our annual request for, support from you guys. Our general expense request is for $23,000, same number as last year. A little bit new this year, we have some important information that was noted down. Every year, our board has the opportunity to attend the Association of Iowa Fairs Convention in Des Moines, which is held in December. This December, Tracy and Kendall attended. The keynote speaker shared some fun 4-H facts. 4-H youth are 4 times more likely to contribute to their communities. 96% of 4-H youth report that 4-H helped them identify things they are good at, while 58% said it assisted them with their college decision. 4-Hers are 2 times more likely to make healthier choices and less likely to participate in risky behavior, which means it helps keep kids off the streets and out of McNamee's cells, so that saves taxpayer dollars. And lastly, 70% of 4-H teens feel prepared to apply technical and life skills to their future career. It is often said that 4-H is more than just cows and cookies, and the statistics prove that. 4-H and FFA provide our youth with opportunities and life skills that they will carry with them not only through high school, but through college and beyond. Hearing these statistics and impact we can have on our youth reminded us of our why. Each member of our board is dedicated to making the best better and creating experiences that will strengthen community relationships, build confidence in our youth, and teach and instill important life skills, all while creating memories these kids will remember for years to come, like being thrown in the water tank at the fair. Part of making the best better is keeping our facilities up to date to allow for growth and efficiency. 2 years ago, we upgraded all of our sheep pens, and last year we upgraded all the gates in the beef barn. We are happy to report that our sheep and goat numbers remained steady while our swine numbers were up last year, and despite the high beef market prices, we had 100 head of market beef weigh in early December this year, and that just proves the dedication these families have to their projects. We are also happy to report that our 4-H enrollment numbers were up a little last year at 245, and we look for that to grow even more this year. In addition to the livestock events, we are bringing back live music on Friday night, and the fan favorite demo derby will return Saturday night. We will also have our Kids Day on Saturday, which is full of free activities for the kids to come and enjoy. And this event continues to grow each year and has been a wonderful way to get community members and organizations involved at the fair. Sunday will be a day full of fun for the whole family, including bingo, ATV rodeo, bags tournament, wine and home brew competition, and more. We are still in planning stages and have a couple more events we would love to add to the schedule this year if time allows. None of these events would be possible without your support and the support of our volunteers, communities, and all the families and kids that dedicate their time each year. We appreciate the support you've given us in the past and hopes for continual support in the future. After the letter there, you'll see our financial report from year-end September 30th. You will note that we did end the year negative compared to our ending balance the year before. That is primarily because of our concert we held on Friday night. The turnout just wasn't there for the event to support itself. So we will work this year to do better with that, getting that out ahead of time and hopefully recoup that. Although with the loss we saw at the concert, we were up in donations and sponsorships. I don't have those exact numbers, but we did see an increase in that a little bit for total. I'm welcome to look through there. If you guys have any questions, let me know.
You talked about the 4-H and mentioned FFA. We see a lot more FFA coming into this, and as far as the fair goes, it does make a bit of difference, which it is.
Correct. The kids declare if they're gonna show as FFA members or 4-H. A lot of our they are dual enrolled.
They do dual.
Mm-hmm.
The money that we donate to the counties or to the fairs, $23,000.
Last year was 20,000 that you gave. Their request is 23.
What does that go for specifically?
It's just general operations, just overall expenses that we have.
So trend line, you said that overall everything is increasing when we start looking at livestock in general, so.
Correct.
Has that been consistent over the last two or three years, or is it just recent, last year or so, or how does that go? And the reason I'm asking is because I know Lee County's way down on livestock.
So
And somebody's shaking her head in the back. So
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, just recent in the
Yeah, I was
increase.
gonna say, last year, I'm Tracy Bainhouse with the fair as well. And last year, our swine numbers were way up, which they had been down in the previous years. And so we did have several kids participate in our competition swine project, which brought our numbers up. But it was nice to see our swine barn full again last year. Our sheep and goat numbers they skyrocketed in the prior years, and last year they held steady. And so that's where we were able to use the money that you give us and provide us with to provide all new pens, so we have more room in the sheep barn to continue that growth. And they're much more efficient pens and they work a lot better, and so we were able to do that. Our beef numbers continue to rise each year. We've always had that, and even like we said, even with the market prices, we still had right at 100 head weigh in, and so those have remained steady. And then of course we do have our smaller animals as well, the chickens, the poultry, that has all continued to grow, and rabbits has really taken off too. So I mean, we've seen growth in all of our livestock, which is nice. So
Excellent. Thank you.
Any further questions?
No capital projects anymore for a while.
I don't believe we have anything planned, big wise. There might be a few smaller things, but nothing substantial this year.
Anything else, Chad?
We're done? We'll keep this
Just
in.
for those in attendance, Iowa code requires us to fund a county fair. So that's part of the reason they're here.
We'll take that into consideration when, through the budgeting process and move forward from there, so.
Good explanation on this. Everybody should be aware of that. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time.
Next, item, Rachel Lindeen with Area Economic Development Update. Guest speaker Rich Trickle will be giving a presentation.
Good morning, thank you. For the record, it's just email, RACH email. It's a pet peeve.
There you go.
I'd like to think one of the three of you would know how to spell my name, but that's okay.
I was just gonna say, we'd fall back on.
Starting on a
something.
good note, aren't we? First and foremost, I'm here to say thank you for your overall support of Henry County Tourism and the Area Development Commission. We'll start with tourism because that tends to be the most fun to talk about. So in 2025, our community does a booth at the Iowa State Fair, and so about a third of our funds go towards the allocated funds we get from the county. About a third of that goes to the state fair support. And what I mean by support is the actual cost of the booth, some travel, and just some employee expense, as both Erica and I have been able to support the fair. This year we really tried to target that 90 to 120 mile radius outside of Henry County for tourism recruitment. So we did that. We had an opportunity. KCRG TV9 out of Cedar Rapids came to us and said, we want to spotlight your community with a week of promotions. That part of it was free. They did Old Threshers, they did Oakland Mills, Carlin Lincoln House, Van Allen House. They even highlighted the 8th grade girls track team that had won at state, City Pool, just a lot of our great amenities that we have. But also with that, they said we're going to give this part for free, but we also did some additional marketing to correspond with that. And a part of that also is that at the beginning of December, I went on to TV show in Cedar Rapids called Our Town, and just was able to spotlight of all the holiday things happening in our community. Tourism in partnership also with the chamber did help out a little bit with this. Hallmark Christmas Movie Channel, as there's a buy with Mediacom and DirecTV. Now I know not everybody has Mediacom, I know not everybody has DirecTV, but we were able to reach his audience as far as the Quad Cities, Western Illinois, over to Ottumwa with a Hallmark movie buy. So if you like Hallmark movies, if you watch HGTV or Bravo, those would be the channels that it came up on. So we were able to promote, and the idea is the goal for tourism funds is not for anybody local to see it. We want to bring people to heads and beds into our community. So I just again want to say thank you, and so our ask for Henry County Tourism is a continued of $10,000 for that. Any questions as it relates to tourism?
Would there be any chance of using other channels than Hallmark?
We could. We were really going for the female decision household owner in that 20 to 60-year-old market.
Yeah, Jed, I don't know what could beat a Hallmark Christmas movie. Or Christmas in July.
And we didn't do, there was also some digital part of that. Not digital streaming, but digital through Mediacom has those options. So we'll take, do you want me to do like an ESPN buy next year or RFD-TV?
History Channel.
I'll take that into consideration.
It's weird that the snow is never dirty along the streets on Hallmark.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan, sorry, I'm not.
I'm sorry.
Last night, Ken.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So that is tourism in a nutshell. Any questions on that? Staying in that same vein, I know I'm here for economic development, but I think it behooves me to mention some work that the chamber did. So, all of our marketing, prior to 2023, our office relied heavily on Iowa Wesleyan. So we are working on rebuilding our entire digital library that doesn't have anything that says Iowa Wesleyan, student involvement, a banner. It was deep of how much purple and white we had. So we've been working on doing that, and part of it is we used a chamber member of Joel and Media who created 7 short, 4-ish on average, 3 to 5 minute videos highlighting area business owners. We did 7. We did it with the Chamber, Area Development Commission, and Main Street. All were played a part in this. We put them on our Chamber Facebook, Main Street Facebook, and they also live on the Mount Pleasant Area Chamber Alliance YouTube channel. The response we got from that is great. It takes a lot of money to produce 3 to 5 minutes, and so we have a good baseline, so we are going to look to continue to do more of that. And I just mentioned it because it was a good partnership amongst all 3 entities. So the whole reason we're really here, so ADC, I think I have one for the auditor's office too. Thank you. So I need to go back a little bit before we can talk about current day. So in 2024, we have 3 boards, 3 budgets that make up the Chamber Alliance: Main Street, Chamber of Commerce, and Area Development Commission. And our 3 boards came together for 2 community sessions in 2024 that kind of said, what now? The dust had settled on the closure of the college, and so the 3 boards did a lot of behind the scenes work, and we had a few additional key community members that participated in the discussion with an outside facilitator. And why that is important is because it really, for the first time in a while, I'm not gonna say first time ever, the boards came together to figure out how are we gonna work together from an alliance standpoint. How are we gonna better and work with our amenities, continue work with the county, continue work with the city, and everybody involved. And out of that came a feasibility study. So in 2025, the Area Development Commission contracted with Convergent Nonprofit Solutions to create a feasibility study for economic development. And that's what you have first, is the August 2025, and this was the feasibility study. So I believe that 3 of you participated, and so it took a lot of work to get us to July to conduct 60+ meetings with 70+ individuals about investment in economic development. This is the first time that we asked the private sector to play with economic development. And during July, we tested priorities of a new industrial park. We tested housing initiatives, workforce initiatives, and placemaking. And placemaking is a fancy word for fun. Placemaking is farmers markets. It is art in the park. It is different things that you would do from your, what's your 5 to 9. So we had a lot of great honest feedback, and I think there's 13 pages of feedback here. And this was just the executive summary. But really what came back from it, if you take out the high comments, the really positive, and you take out the really low, and I'm suggesting you focus on 90%. There was 90% support of do something with land, which industrial park, maybe a business park, housing initiatives, and workforce development. So that's important to know why we got here. How did we spend our time in 2025? Is heavy in the feasibility study. It's been a while since we asked the private sector how they want to spend their money. So before you, also be with you, so the feasibility study led to a capital campaign, which is why Rich is with us he is with Convergent Nonprofit Solutions, and together we are working on a capital campaign to grow our economic development in Henry County. I'm gonna pause real quick on the feasibility study before I jump in. Any questions or comments? Steve? Any comments on, before I move on? Keep going? Okay.
Yeah, no, I do, I have a question. Looking at your initiatives, placemaking always comes in very low. You know, and I sat through some of those meetings, I guess I have a little trouble with that because it always comes up. You know, so it must be important, but it can't be terribly low on the totem pole. It might be low compared to the other 3, but the reality is people like to do things on weekends and evenings and afternoons, especially when they have that time available, so.
I would agree with you, cause what do I hear?
Yeah.
What do I do? Where do I go to eat? I don't want to go to Iowa City, right? I don't wanna leave town. I wanna spend time here. So I was also, I think the word I would use is probably a little surprised that placemaking didn't go more, because we hear that all the time. We have really great jobs, but what do I do after work?
Yeah.
So we have great trails. We have
we have
awesome
okay
libraries.
trails.
Yeah, libraries, and we have good rec centers. Like we have this stuff, and the school district has a ton of activities too. And I would also add on that, to your point, is one thing I've heard a lot is some of the cultural events that we're missing without 700 students. And so I would agree, but when you think about it from feedback from the 60 businesses, 70 some people, when they talk economic development, there are just greater needs in our community.
How about schools? How does that impact?
We'll get there.
We're gonna get there?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So the feasibility study said do something, and we said okay. So right now, economic development is funded with a 28E agreement with municipalities, counties, and our energy partners. We do not foresee that to go anywhere. So my ask is still going to be an ask per our 28E agreement. But on top of that, we are going to do new work in the capital campaign that you have in front of you. So I would just thought I could highlight some of the top things we'll be working on. So before you is a 5-year plan. So if we think, what is economic gonna look like in 5 years? That is what is before you. So 2026 is year 1 of a 5-year campaign. So the first couple pages is everything that I have touched on. So I would like to start on a page that I have that says strategic priorities and strategies. For me, it looks a little something like this. It's about page 3 or 4. Yep, that one. So out of the feasibility study, and after that, we had a committee of refinement of volunteers, refinement committee volunteers. They took our plan, refined it again, and before you have feasibility and then a refinement committee's work. And out of the feasibility and out of what we can actually do with our campaign goal, workforce development is huge. At any given time, I'm really speaking to the manufacturing sector, but I would say it's true with about any sector. We have, at any given time, we've heard, Rich and I've had a lot of conversations, anywhere from 12 to 20 openings at any given time within our industries. And these are good paying jobs. We know Continental, they have announced publicly that they're expanding with 50 new jobs at $21.50 an hour with high quality jobs. So that is, we know, plus we just know that there are lots of opportunities in all of our businesses. So I do believe that the school districts are doing really great things, whether it be through programs of industrial tech or FFA. Those are all future workforce initiatives that are happening in schools. But we need to build our relationships between the schools and our private sector, and with SCC. SCC does have lack of a better word, a center, a room, a building here that is very underutilized. So we have had great conversations with Dr. Ash to better our engagement with SCC in Henry County. And we just want to, this is a very general comment, but we want to expand all of our future workforce programming. We have interns that come into our community, and so they're seeing great jobs for that 8 to 10 weeks they're here during the summer. We would like to start an internship program, to your point earlier, of placemaking, of showcasing what's there to do in the fun. What's the fun? We have a great job, now what do I do in the evening? So we can attract those good quality employees. Henry County Leadership is established program within the chamber, but there is a lot of potential for expansion of participation. This year we have 7. Our goal would be 10 a year. Realistically, we'd like to get to 15. That is a partnership with the the Extension Office. They do morning curriculum, and then we spend the afternoons out in the community. We have great community partners like Sheriff McNamee, Conservation, that they open their doors and show our class the great amenities. And then just more workforce roundtables, and then you'll also see some key metrics to go along with the strategies. So Steve, to your point of schools, we have had conversations specifically with Mount Pleasant's Community School District. This would be more on an economic development side, to have somebody in place to work directly with all of our schools. We actually have 5 when you count the Christian school and our 4 public schools, to really engage in the business, career technical education arena. It is happening today. We have great job fairs. I know they're shadowing. I'm not suggesting that nothing is happening. I am just suggesting there's potential for a lot more work. And when we talk to specifically our manufacturing sector, this is the one that they put as a priority, just because they have so many openings today. And any potential for growth would be limited by future workforce development. And while I'm on that topic, we should be getting an updated labor shed report by the state this year. We are due. So the last one we had was completed in 2023. For a labor shed report, that is something that the state provides for us. So we are actually in talks with them right now to find out when that will happen, but that should happen this year. That is just a squirrel moment side note that may come up. Moving on, housing was a second really high initiative that came out. Our office completed a housing needs assessment in the spring of 2023, and what I mean by completed was paid for and published in the spring of 2023. I would argue that this entire community feels that it lost all validity because of the timing of the publication. So the first thing we will do in housing needs is get an updated housing needs assessment. There's still really good information in there, and that is something that we can work with regional planning and Zach specifically to work with.
Yeah,
so,
that's gonna be my question, is obviously we have some opportunity there.
Yep.
We have some funds we don't use, and we need to do a
Yep.
better job.
So that has been addressed to your point, but yes, the very first thing out of housing is doing the housing needs assessment, which will really then shape the next few bullets. We are not developers, but we can identify those that are. Rich and I have had lengthy conversations with our realtors, contractors, and anybody that has anything to do with the housing. build, redevelopment, whatever that looks like. They are all confident that within the work of this plan, it would create 50 new housing builds in the county.
You would also probably wanna work with like the local renters association, the landowners group that I think they would have some information to share too.
So, and then on their, downtown housing development, there is been a lot of upper story done. Main Street has done a great job with upper story development. They've used IFA funds. They've done a lot of creative ways, but there is one targeted building that they are really looking at, which we would know, as the True Value Building, the upper story, second and third story building for redevelopment. So, we've had developers go through, we've worked with regional planning, they've actually had some plans for that. But that bullet point, encourage downtown housing development, is kind of targeted as one building. I've been in there several times now. It's clean, the roof is in great shape. You believe you could get realistically 7 upper story development, and I'm not talking about anything on the first floor. That would remain untouched. This is second and third story development. You could get 7, realistically 9 apartments up there, tight. So that is what that would look like. We don't have any way to, unless they're telling us they have vacancies, which we don't here, we have no way to track upper story development and occupancy in downtown Mount Pleasant, except for, I encourage you to drive by at night. Their parking lot, the streets are full. They can't park, they have to park on the square side of it, so, having more upper story development in Mount Pleasant would be great. And then again, for each initiative, we have some key metrics, and out of everything in this whole entire plan, the housing needs assessment would be number 1. And currently, we have a lot of land. We have limits on what we can market for future industrial growth. So in our feasibility study, we tested an industrial park, came back really, really strong. But before you see a business park. And business park just creates some flexibility of what kind of businesses we can attract. Currently, the industrial park that we would know, Mid-Am bought the last available land out there. There is 37 acres that are owned by the railroad that is available for development, but they would like it to better the rail industry, which I don't blame them. So everything right now that we would have to market for a future expansion of growth is currently all privately owned. So the work of number 3 of business park development and building the future would really lay the groundwork for hopefully year 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of our next capital campaign. So as you can see, we just kind of want to figure out where and what businesses are best suited. And the easy answer is to say Mount Pleasant would be a prime location, but we are not ruling out Wayland, we're not ruling out New London. This is an open conversation. And then the 4th thing is just suggesting, since a lot of this is new work, or 99% of this is new work, that it would take additional staff. So we have, the 4th just says it would take 1 additional staff member. I see that additional staff member working in the workforce role, as I kind of articulated earlier. Just as a reminder, it's myself and Erica. We have 2+, we have a gal that helps us with our finances, on average 15 to 20 hours a month, and then Main Street is our sister organization. So all in all, we have about 3.2 employees. And so this work would be additional. So like I said, we're in the middle of our capital campaign. We will go public on February 11th, which is what you have an invitation before you. I think you'll also get one in your mailbox too. But February 11th, we will be public with our investors, where we are on the campaign. But so far, it's been well received on the program of work. Any questions on that before I hand it over to Rich?
All right, thanks, Rachel. So if you want to look at this sheet right here, the ROI sheet, as we prepare to launch this campaign, what we wanted to be able to demonstrate and talk about with the prospective investors is what exactly would the impact of this campaign be in two specific areas, an employment impact and also an economic impact. So these are projections, and the stats and the numbers that you see here are a result of us being able to pull our government data that's readily available. So we're projecting and looking forward to the creation of 105 new jobs with a primary wage rate of about $27.15, producing a gross salary of about $5.9 million. Those 105 new jobs are projected to create about 47 secondary jobs, increasing that payroll to about a little over $8 million. We then took that gross payroll number and wanted to have an understanding of what would the spend look like and how actually would that impact the businesses throughout Henry County. Well, that spend works down to about $5.7 million. And then if you turn the page, you'll see some charts here. Again, accessing government RIM data, we can look at, okay, how's the money been distributed throughout Henry County and the businesses that exist in Henry County to date, and what might that look like as far as an overall impact going forward at the end of this 5-year campaign or 5-year strategic plan fulfillment. Well, you can see those numbers there, the way it impacts the different businesses, the different organizations, and so on throughout this county. So the point being is, as we looked at this and made these projections based on the 5-year strategic plan that Rachel just went through, the economic impact and the employment impact in Henry County is extremely significant. And then just to get a little more detail, if you turn one more page, and I'll just leave this for you to look at, we could also take a deeper look into some very specific businesses and organizations, and to see what the projected economic impact would be. And the reason that this is specifically important to us as we execute this campaign is in talking to probable investors that may be doing business in these specific industries, we could show them at least what a projected impact might be. You'll note as we have been talking about this, we're not asking for donations, we're asking for investment. This is an investment in the economic development future of Henry County. And so when you use a word like investment, of course it triggers, at least in the mind of everyone that I say that to, okay, what's the ROI? If I'm going to invest something, what am I going to get back from that investment, which is a very, very reasonable thought. Well, this is the projected ROI. And of course, this is based on significant experience that we've seen all over the country as we do these campaigns. The impact on the communities and the cities and the counties that pursue economic development aggressively like this, a coordinated strategic economic development thrust, pays huge dividends. And then just one other thing I'll point out to you at the bottom of this page, the housing construction impact. As we looked at this and had the discussions that Rachel mentioned, it is very likely that in the next 5 years, and I would suggest that this is probably a conservative estimate, to see 50 new homes constructed in 5 years is very doable, very reasonable. The impact just of that one feature alone can be significant. And this comes back to the work that Rachel and her team can do, working closely with the county and closely with the city, constructing an incentive package to draw people to Mount Pleasant to actually settle here, build homes here, and continue to grow the population here. Do you have any questions on the ROI impact and what we're projecting?
Is that 50 new homes just citywide or countywide?
Countywide.
Yeah, I had a question here in reference to, so we talked about Continental being at $21.50 an hour, and here you're projecting $27.15. And you're talking about a 25% difference here.
Right. These are estimated numbers based on existing data, looking at targeted industries.
So the $21.50 is a starting wage.
Understand. Yeah.
And that would be a combination of, but the 27 is an average of all wages.
Okay. Might be a tad bit optimistic, but okay.
Not necessarily. I mean, you're get beyond hourly hourly wage. I mean, that is more than skilled labor wages into that. So on average, we're talking everybody from the plant manager, just thinking manufacturing sector, you're talking plant management, ownership, engineers, HR, everybody that takes to run a business. That's what that 2750 would be.
We looked at 3 specific industries: transportation, manufacturing, and retail. And so these aren't guesses, these are statistical numbers that are available. So as we looked at those industries, and averaged those wages, that's where that number comes from. So
I understand what you're saying,
yeah.
but the reality is Continental's not gonna hire a second plant manager.
We're not just talking about Continental.
Well, just in general, any manufacturer,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not gonna hire a second plant manager. So again, that average, I understand what you're saying, it seems a little high, a little optimistic for our community. But anyway, we can deal with that.
So, any other questions for Rich on the return ROI before I go on? So, again, we're looking to keep the 28E agreement. I went back and looked, it looks like the county has been investing in economic development since 2002. And in 2002, it started off with an ask of 40,000, and 23 years later, it's only had a 1.037% increase. So today, I would like to ask you for your 28E investment to be an annual investment of $50,000, which is just a little bit more than we had done in previous years, just based off of the lack of increase into economic development before. And then putting on the capital campaign ask, we would ask for an additional $20,000 a year. Here's it in writing for you, Chad, as an investor into the campaign. So. I appreciate you for your continued support, your continued partnerships, and hope to see you on February 11th.
At the Union Block.
At the Union Block. Any other questions?
No.
Questions?
No, just delve into this a little bit more, but.
Okay.
Looks
Thank
like
you.
what we talked about in general.
I'll make copies.
Okay.
Everybody.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us up to, new business, letter D, item Tim Meyer, All-American Sanitation Update. Has anybody received anything from All-American?
Not that I'm aware of, Chad.
I have not either, so
Okay.
we'll skip that one. Move into other business. Just like to give everybody a reminder that there will be no Board of Supervisor meeting on Thursday, January 29. Members will be at the ISAC conference, so. Another item of business, letter B, Farm Bureau has reached out to us. They are requesting a annual Board of Supervisor visit to their board meeting for the Q&A. Has happened, on a regular basis.
Would be the 16th.
That was the next question was, what's a good date to let him know?
That has been the norm, is to go on their business meeting.
Their
night,
business
so
meeting, yeah.
Ask them.
That's a Monday?
Mhm.
Are they requesting all 3?
We always have.
Yeah.
Okay, so technically that's an open meeting.
Yep.
Yep.
And they've known that in the past.
I'll reach out to, the organization and tell them, get us, then I will let the auditor know so it can be published as an open meeting, so
Okay.
we can all attend there, so. Item number C is Weed Commissioner, Secondary Road Noxious Weed duties. That joint meeting will be January 28th. Be Jake, myself, and the Weed Commissioner, Yaley, and your employee, Mr. Sloan.
Yep.
That handles the weed eradication for the county secondary roads, or one of the, he's the main guy. I think there's a couple of them that do that.
We have an assistant, there's
Yeah.
two guys that work together, but it'll just be Jeff, so it'll be 4 of us, or whatever, it's 5.
Yep. Other business, just a reminder to remove, and I think it's been done.
It's been done, and I can make you guys copies.
Can
if
you
want
please,
them.
guys,
Yep.
redistribute copies and make sure
Yep.
everybody gets rid of their old ones?
Yep,
So
I
quit
can
getting
run
phone
this.
calls?
I'll run them out to the departments today.
That'd be great, thank you.
And then, I had letter C, a reminder that January 29 Board Supervisor meeting, won't be happening, just kind of a double tap on that one, so. Moving into number 8, public comments, so. Any public comments?
I will. I don't have to go first, but, so, haven't been here for a while, you know, but anyhow, so, I noticed this, the public comment on the bottom of the agenda, and it says you welcome public comments on items not listed on the agenda, but it doesn't say anything about items on the agenda. So, I don't know. Okay, and then, you want a person to state their, you didn't ask me to state my name and address, and thank you for that, because, you know, I like to deal with anonymous stuff. I get anonymous letters and anonymous phone calls, and so I can play that game if you guys can. You wanted that for the record, name and address for the record, and so I'd ask, well, who's keeping the record? And I thought that's kind of funny, because nobody kept a record for the IT guy, the former IT guy, for his overtime and his vacation. Couldn't find any record for that stuff. So that's kind of interesting. And anyhow, okay. So in the next few days, I plan on sending you guys, the county attorney and the auditor, a formal FOIA request for that anonymous email you guys are working with for information. So you can be expecting that. I'll get that done in the next few days, I think. Okay, so outside of that, I don't plan to advise you, I don't plan to threaten you, but I do encourage you to access counsel that you trust to be certain of your position, so you're comfortable with that, before you release or reveal any conversations you may have had with myself or any physical information that I may have provided you privately, that but without that you don't give that up without my express written permission. So check on that. And then just one more thing finally, and I'm sitting in here, I wasn't prepared for this, but sitting in here listening for everybody asking for money. And I'm thinking about, and I'm not a member of the Henry County Watchman, but these people have done so much. They come in here every meeting, they're so dedicated, do all this research and everything, and they're good friends with the sheriff too. I think they need to come ask for some money. And I'm done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, last 3 weeks, we've had some requests for money. I think have been outstanding requests. I really urge the board to consider the ones about geode. Even the public health was in favor of donations for the people in geode. Also, today, we heard the request for the fair board, and I think it's very valid point, and it's money well invested in our youth. I really do. And today is National Holocaust Day. Anybody remember that? No.
Thank you. Any further public comments? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
Do you want to adjourn or take a recess to go into the agendas? Which would you prefer?
We can take a, let's see, be ready to proceed 25 after. I can get 7 minutes.
Sure.
That work? So.
Okay, take a recess.
Well, there you have it. Another episode of Podcast Excellence. And I think we even mined a little extra excellence with Leland Graber back. Please do me a favor and give this episode a like, follow, and subscribe. It is free. Thanks for watching, and thanks to my sponsors, Griner Auto Body Car Doctor, McDonald Boneyard, Your Choice Family Restaurant, Girling Repair, B&B Propane and the family of Jet Stops, CW Tree Trimming LLC, and Iowa Technology Systems. I'm your host, John Bain. Stay friendly, Southeast Iowa.